Welcome to ES Ascension News, the Magnum Opus. Dear Ascending Family, we are entering the next evolution stage in the planetary consciousness fields as a result from the bifurcation of the time fields that began over 6 months ago. This is the split occurring between timelines which govern humanity's continued evolution and direction on the Earth plane as we move into future time. This is like a galactic superhighway access into the planetary architecture that acts similarly as an interdimensional routing network. This routing network has allowed for rapid soul transiting and dispersing of collective consciousness that is able to be elevated out of the lower dimensional realms and moved into higher evolutionary pathways. The intentions we have and the choices that we make now in this bifurcated field greatly impact our future consciousness evolution and when we leave the Earth plane. We are at an imperative intersection of making vibrational choices of our spiritual authority that is creating an overall qualitative, energetic measurement. Humanity is facing the crossroads in time between progressing into the highest expression of one's best future scenario or digressing into a painful downfall into the rock bottom of chaos, violence, and suffering. From this point on, with the Sophianic body correction underway on the Earth, the alchemy of our real spiritual purpose and consciousness evolution is about to manifest in synchronistic timing and with fully interconnected singularity. Thus, the planetary field and humanity are coming to an experience of a pinnacle event in planetary ascension. The great work of alchemy in Latin is called the Magnum Opus. Now we enter the potential of meeting our own personal Magnum Opus, which culminates as the spiritual ascension alchemy laws are being supported within the Master Christos collective. This meeting point with whoever is our master is reconfiguring collective human energy fields into aligning with either the descending or ascending time cycles. Those groups moving into the ascending timeline will enter new stages of ascension alchemy that is completely governed by the natural laws through the Master Christos collective. This group is being accelerated now for the first stages of the great alchemical work, which begins near April's Easter Sunday. And so we enter into the mystery of mysteries, the magnum opus of the alchemical process, which has been attempted to be described, imitated, and reproduced by many of the mystics and sages of the past ages. The ultimate goal is to perfect our true humanity, to discover our real inner spiritual being while embodied on this planet. Our great work is that we connect to our essential divinity within, to become one with God on the earth. This is the true alchemy process of the spiritual ascension. Ancient alchemy. Alchemists of the past ages have written that the goal of the great work is to perfect any substance, creation, or situation through its transformation back into its essential divinity or art within the matter realm. Embodying divinity and creating true art are considered one and the same. The Magnum Opus is also an alchemist term for the process of forming the legendary substance which creates astounding powers that transform base metals into gold and silver. Knowing our elemental body is shifting from carbon-based atoms to higher-based elements, we can connect the dots in our own body's alchemical process in order to evolve into higher consciousness. This alchemical transmutation has been referred to symbolically as the substance of the philosopher's stone and is associated with the elixir, the Holy Grail, eternal life, divinity, quintessence, and the Christ. The elixir of the ancient alchemists have essentially claimed the same ability to bring perfection to any substance and matter. When this alchemical art is applied to perfect the human body, the elixir cures disease, restores youth and symmetry. This highest emanation of this mysterious elixir is truly the cosmic ether of Mother's Holy Spirit returning to the earth during the ascension cycle. Abusing alchemical laws is anti-Christ. The great work has been used to describe personal ascension and spiritual transmutation in the Gnostic, Hermetic, and Kabbalistic teaching, as well as define the alchemy that is attached to laboratory processes that make chemical or elemental changes. Clearly, many of the ancient Hermetic traditions have been hijacked towards patriarchal domination, promoting sexual misery and dark ignorance, and so this knowledge of alchemy has been severely corrupted and abused. The end result of the abuses of alchemical law is a type of Frankenstein body pieced together that is glorified by Satanists in its most grotesque creation. One such Frankenstein body created through these alchemical abuses is the Baphomet fields, which are appallingly depraved and diseased. The Baphomet field is the Antichrist negative form of the Earth's Sophianic body. However, even though the imposter spirit and the negative alien agenda have abused this knowledge for their own selfish agendas on the earth, they have attempted to corrupt it. However, it really can never truly be corrupted. What we see as a result is replicants, the dark creations that are made by false gods. The imposter spirits attempt to replicate and hijack the true divine inheritance of the Christ consciousness, as they want to play God without purifying themselves in the alchemical laws. And so this abuse of this knowledge is the Antichrist. They essentially wrote their own law on this earth to defy the natural alchemical laws of God. This is using knowledge for selfishness and for malevolent purposes, which actually distort the natural laws through its abuse, creating monstrosities. Essentially, these are the monstrosities accumulated in this dark cycle by the Antichrist, or the anti-God entities upon the earth, of which we are coming to a conclusion with at this time. Many of us that are grid workers have been seeing these monstrosities in a way never perceived before. They are the fallen ones. Christos-Sophia is alchemical law of God. However, the Magnum Opus of alchemy is the model for the tempering of the soul, while cultivating a perfected human being in their evolution and self-mastery process. This is also an ideal model in creating masterful art, music, and literature. The Magnum Opus has been carried forward in New Age and philosophical movement, which bring this spiritual significance to these same alchemical processes. We call this great work the ultimate goal of spiritual ascension, as the inner Christos-Sophia is ignited within to purify and make perfect the completed divine human being. The purification of embodying and achieving the full divinity of Christos-Sophia in matter is symbolic of incorruptible wisdom, which is realized by uniting both coherent intellectual thinking of the masculine left brain activity with our intuitive knowing of the open and loving heart, the feminine principle with right brain activity. This alchemical transformation is made possible through the sacred marriage or hierogamic union of Christos and Christos-Sophia united within our body. They are the son and daughter of God and act as one unified body, mind, and heart. The Christos-Sophia represents the marriage of divine perfection inherent in the natural alchemical laws of God, which manifest its art throughout the universal creation. The original divine human template of the inner Christ-Sophia is made in God's image, and its intentions are the true divine purpose upon the earth. The extraction of artificial, inorganic, or alien. Thus, spiritual ascension alchemy is the natural art and science of mimicking and accelerating nature, as well as obeying the natural laws of God. Pure alchemy exists within the core essence of the true natural state of divine being. To connect with inner spiritual alchemy, one must extract the artificial machinery and purposely remove the inorganic state of being that may have been programmed within the self. In true alchemy, one does not superimpose one's will or ego to really create anything. True alchemists and sages know that all we do is allow ourselves to be the vessel of God's Spirit and provide the condition for nature to do what nature does. We must discover our real inner truth located within the essential core being to seek the knowledge of the authentic divine self. So the consciousness transformation, which is ignited during the inner alchemical process of spiritual ascension, is not really caused by the alchemist. It is caused through our essential divine nature, when, in full observance, dedication, and devotion to the natural laws of God, we look to provide purely natural conditions for our authentic state of being, in so that the natural laws can operate effectively without artifices. And so those on the ascending path will be subjected to the natural laws of God, to which perform organic functions of consciousness evolution through the process of spiritual alchemy. The planetary ascension and humanities ascension is achieved through the process of collective consciousness alchemy, also known as polarity integration. The Master Christos Collective, the Christos-Sophia united within us, is the ultimate consciousness alchemist. This alchemical Magnum Opus is divinely expressed through a series of chemical operations and transmutations which are now connected into the constellations through the Aurora Ray System. Aurora Ray System and Constellation Alchemy Upgrade. As we move into the next 12 months, as the sun moves through each of the constellation zodiacal signs, the planetary consciousness will undergo gradual shifts into building foundations of alchemical laws and principles. These structural principles are both energetic and geometric, which are aligned to the alchemical laws of God, hosted by the Aurora Ray System. When astrological alignments occur through major conjunctions between planetary and stellar bodies, forces of alchemy occur which alter frequency current, therefore manifesting new creation. This new cosmic alignment changes stellar architecture of how our sun transmits the ray system throughout our solar system. These stages of transmitting alchemical forces to aid consciousness evolution are qualities of which have never been previously exposed to this planet. This is allowing alchemical laws of consciousness evolution to be transmitted through the star constellations, which are inherently a part of the organic process of planetary biological ascension. Previously, most of these stellar forces have been obstructed from being exposed to the lower atmosphere of the Earth via nets of alien machinery. The auroras are the plasma light fields of the Master Christos Collective from the next universe, of which are building and supporting the stellar architecture to host planetary ascension and to direct humanity to the ascending time cycles. Shifting timelines are based on new astronomy. The current Western time calendar, the Gregorian calendar, have been controlled by the negative alien forces since the Council of Nicaea agreed upon a date for the celebration of Easter Sunday in 325 AD. Because the celebration of Easter was tied to the spring equinox, the Roman Catholic Church considered this steady drift in the date of Easter undesirable in the annual calendar. The calendar reform was adopted initially by the Catholic countries, obviously controlled by the Vatican based on lunar phases. Today, this calendar is our global standard of timekeeping. Additionally, Western tropical astrology has long been detached from the constellations relating to the zodiac signs due to the axial precession of the equinoxes over the centuries since the introduction of the zodiac by the Chaldeans in Babylonia, which is modern-day Iraq. Ancient Babylonians had 13 constellations, but wanted only 12, so they removed Ophiuchus, the wisdom holder. The constellation of Libra didn't enter the astrological sciences until the era of Julius Caesar. This same 12-month zodiac is the most common astrology system used for Western astrologers. Both of these systems have been generally used to suppress consciousness and suppress true knowledge of the stars and humanity's relationship to the stars. This is similar to express that without an appropriate model for humanity's evolutionary development to be free to expand consciousness, these systems are used to repeat broken patterns and remain stuck in the old timelines created by the false gods of religion. It is playing the same old broken record over and over again, never learning from the past mistakes that have caused great suffering and pain for humanity. Given the alchemical principles becoming activated through the star constellations, the introduction of a new astrological theory by authors Dr. Percy Seymour and Vasilis Kanatis is much more accurate to describe the magnetic field impacts upon the planet. Hence, the 13-sign zodiac is based upon the astrological signs which correspond directly to the time the sun actually spends in their related constellations. The movement of stars, planets, comets, and asteroids through space affect the solar magnetic field, which in turn impacts the geomagnetic field, which influences collective and individual electromagnetic, chemical, and biological systems on the Earth. The 13-sign zodiac will inform of the alchemical principles being activated that are related to the actual phases the sun spends in each constellation. There are slight variations of beginning and end dates of which the sun spends in each constellation every year. Those moving onto the ascending timeline will experience a more accurate demarcation point in their consciousness experience which will directly connect into the 13 zodiac sign alignments as they are made with the sun. The natural alchemical law in constellations will be much more amplified now, more than in the previous timeline record from cellular memories and holographic inserts made from the negative alien agenda upon their invasion of our planet 5,500 years ago. Much of what is cellular memory embeds were holographically inserted to block humanity's nervous system from receiving organic messaging. One such false messaging is crucifixion implants designed to suppress Christ consciousness from being on this planet. The negative alien agenda was to stop all true spiritual science and prevent the natural laws on Earth from working their organic process of biological alchemy. The constellations, therefore astronomy, are a spiritual science that is directly a part of the mechanics of planetary spiritual ascension. Therefore, the zodiac rings of constellations and astronomy are a spiritual science that are a direct part of the mechanics of planetary spiritual ascension and evolving consciousness in time. All human beings were incarnated into the third dimensional timeline with Catholic Gregorian calendar or other calendars and astrological related magnetic overlays that have been unnatural, distorted, or represented as lower self potential polarities. It is important to study these imprints and overlays as a part of understanding where one's personality and ego patterns have been influenced in one's consciousness and body parts. The more one understands how these patterns have influenced one's mind, body, emotions, ego preferences, body medical history, the more informed one is to use the Galactic Zodiac to assist in elevating, healing, and eradicating these obsolete and inorganic patterns. The Galactic Zodiac alignment will help to reestablish organic patterns through the natural laws of alchemical principles. One can participate with these principles and intuit how they are impacting those aspects of the self through observing the personal ascension process during spiritual alchemy. This does not eradicate Western or other forms of astrological sciences and methods. This informs us of the evolutionary transition our planet is undergoing now. This cycle informs us of macrocosmic pulses that will impact the entire planetary consciousness layers in many intense ways, of which we can prepare and participate with when we are informed. The Galactic Zodiac of 13 constellations is the holder of alchemical laws and their principles being transmitted to the entire solar system. These continue transmission through our sun as directed to our planet, which we will be able to observe the macrocosm influence trickle down into the microcosm. The sun transits the Aries constellation between the dates of April 19th to May 13th this year. This year in Aries begins the first stage of true alchemy of the Galactic Zodiac, of which this planet will begin its Magnum Opus cycle of spiritual ascension. This is an extremely complex science of which only brief outlines are provided for now. The following is a summary of the stages of spiritual initiation represented in the alchemical laws on the wheel of the 13 constellations in the Galactic Zodiac. Stage 1, Aries, April 19th to May 13th. The alchemical theme, purification and calcination. The element is fire. The introduction stage of spiritual initiation is represented in Aries. This is the beginning of the alchemical purification of one's consciousness through the process of exposure to fire elements and applying intense heat. The process of heating the body and aura to high temperature, causing loss of moisture, reduction or oxidation, and breaking down into simpler substances to prepare to move blockages. This is the activation process of the Kundalini fire purification of the flesh, bone, and blood. The Kundalini is activated in the tailbone and begins to travel upward in the central vertical channel and throughout the chakras. Stage 2, Taurus, May 14th to June 19th. The alchemical theme is congelation and transformation. The element is earth. Congelation is the process by which something congeals or thickens into a new pattern or blueprint. This increase in viscosity is to reassemble energetic parts into a different energetic pattern. This is achieved through a reduction in applied heat or through the result of the bodily chemical reactions caused through the changes in temperature. This is a natural result of vacillation of active Kundalini liquid fire. Sometimes the increase in viscosity is great enough to crystallize or solidify the new element or new substance. In spiritual alchemy, congelation is one of the vital processes for material bodily transformation to occur. This is a process of spiritual integration of the reassembled parts or required patterns of the Kundalini spirit created in the layers of the body consciousness. Stage 3, Gemini, June 20th to July 20th. The alchemical theme, fixation and synthesis. The element is air. Fixation in alchemy refers to a process by which a previously volatile substance is transformed into a form that is not affected by temperature, fire, or heat. It separates the substance or object and rearranges it back in the same or different shape at a subatomic level. So this is the process which changes the subatomic levels of the body's energetic blueprint. It is a continual progress of polarity synthesis between unstable forces, which are then transformed into a higher, more stable form. Fixation is one of the processes required for the transformation of a base substance, or one level of completion of the alchemical Magnum Opus through the subatomic structures. This is a process of polarity integration between the newly reassembled parts, or adding or subtracting the required patterns that are being synthesized newly into the body consciousness. Stage 4 is Cancer, July 21st to August 9th. The alchemical theme, dissolution and dismantling. The element, water. This is the dismantling phase from unnecessary substances, unnecessary energies or objects that have been shifted from the alchemical synthesis of the polarity integration of forces. There is a process of resolving emotional body issues or dissolving into parts or elements in the shifting field in the energetic consciousness. This phase can be deeply emotional and bring the purging of deep soul wounds. In the spiritual ascension process, this may manifest as the breaking of bonds, breaking up of relationship, the breaking up of an assembly or organization. Cancer in the zodiac has heavy ancestral genetic pattern components that greatly influence emotional miasma located in the body. This is a process of dismantling the unnecessary or unneeded primal forces and resolving emotional blocks in the shifting terrain of the energetic consciousness. This emotional purging with the required dismantling happens in many stages throughout the ascension process. Stage 5, Leo, August 10th to September 15th. The alchemical theme, digestion or conversion. The element is fire. In alchemy, digestion is a process in which gentle heat is applied to a substance over a period of several weeks to change the composition of newly combined elements. This is the absorption and assimilation process of the new substance or elements that have shifted, which were either removed or added into the body consciousness. Old emotional states or unnecessary energies have been eliminated, and chemically, as by the action of enzymes, new energies are converted into deeper assimilation into the body elemental. This is a process of digesting the changes in one's consciousness, shifting life experiences that are a result of the resolution and completion of old energetic and old emotional pattern. As we digest more of what we can accurately see in the world, we are able to resolve emotional pain, which allows us to see even more deeply. Digesting our reality allows us to eventually experience greater acceptance. Stage 6, Virgo, September 16th to October 30th. The alchemical theme, distillation and purity. The element is earth. This is the continual process of purification of the internal energies, which separate the unnecessary dross and is designed to remove the contaminant. The goal is to acquire a concentration of the holy, natural, essential substance, which is how pure energetic consciousness is distilled. This is the process of accessing and obtaining that pure essence via the inner spirit and distilling that spirit substance throughout our body and into the earth. This is a phase of refinement of our internal energies and spirit in relationship to our body. Stage 7, Libra, October 31st to November 22nd. The alchemical theme, sublimation and transmutation. In the process of spiritual ascension, as we elevate our consciousness, we naturally learn to sublimate and transform negative emotions and negative energy. As we develop the observer consciousness within us, we are able to witness our emotions and external events without identifying that we are that emotion or event. As we observe the emotion or event, we alchemically transform them, sublimate them into higher substance. In this way, we access spiritual harmony, which arranges the energetic environment to the highest expression. Sublimation is a part of the compassionate witness, which is developed through deepened self-awareness of one's body and higher consciousness. We can learn to observe thoughts, emotions, and energies neutrally. Through elevated consciousness, we gain skills in redirecting discordance or disharmony in the self, and this naturally increases energetic harmony inside and out. Once we distill the inner spirit within, the next ascension stage is the natural sublimation and transmutation of negative energies in and around us. Stage 8, Scorpio, November 23rd to November 29th. The alchemical theme, separation, stillness. The element is water. In the required alchemical process of embodying our pure consciousness, there is a separation and isolation from that which interferes or may contaminate the spiritual consciousness. There are phases of which we may experience a separation or sequestering away from certain influences or forces. This isolation or sensation of wanting to isolate is a natural process, such as in acquiring a deep stillness. When it is required, we will find that isolation in order to be still and know we are one with God's Spirit. Once we can sense the growth of our inner spirit, we will have phases where we will look to isolate, or isolation will happen organically. This allows us to focus inside, communicate with, and germinate our spiritual consciousness within. Stage 9, Ophiuchus, November 30th to December 17th, the alchemical theme, unification and wound healing. The element is water and in its highest emanation, ether. This phase is the solar alignment with the cosmic ether, which is at the core of the galactic center. This represents the pouring of healing spiritual waters into the earth and humanity. Previously, these waters were corrupted through the entrapment of the gold ray seraphim on this earth by the knowledge-coveting serpents. This is also the symbol for the fallen angel. This is why this constellation is both ruled by the golden eagle spirit and the snake. During the ascension cycle, this constellation is to return to its original geometry to represent union of all polarity and as the perfect blueprint of energetic balance for harmony for humanity. Through the embodiment of this energetic balance into perfect unity in the upcoming Pisces cycle, the spiritual knowledge and wisdom is given to the truth seeker. Therefore, in its highest expression, this constellation, Ophiuchus, represents the potential blueprint of divine perfection in a human being. For now, it also represents the pending birth of the perfect child growing in the womb of the Divine Mother. It is one with all things and has no opposite. It is capable of healing all human wounds and amplifies spiritual healing in this cycle. Stage 10, Sagittarius, December 18th to January 18th. The alchemical theme, incineration, resurrection. The element is fire. In this stage of the ascension alchemy process, this is the incineration of the old form, the burning up of old and decrepit energies through stages of healing crisis. This is similar to the spiritual bonfire of the lower self and parasites. Once the higher divine blueprint and cosmic ether have been connected to the body, massive healing begins. This is reducing the old negative form and its debris into ashes, as the phoenix that rises from its ashes is reborn upon its old form, which was incinerated in the fire. This is a stage of the spiritual alchemy process, which has the phase transition which changes matter substance from blackened to gray and then to white. This begins the stages of great renewal in the ascending consciousness. Stage 11, Capricorn, January 18th to February 15th. The alchemical theme, fermentation and illumination. The element is earth. Fermentation is the spiritual alchemical process which shifts the production and source of energy that is required for bodily functions. At this stage, it begins to change how the ATP production is made in the mitochondria of the cell, and how that energy is distributed to cellular tissue. New requirements of vital energy are manufactured by increasing the ATP pump, which increases available energy needed to continue life processes. There is an increase of ATP measured in the cells as the person is able to hold more light in their physical cells. This relates to increasing the size and quality of the auric light body. The body is much physically stronger in this stage, even if vitality feels low. Also, the fermentation process is used to produce different levels of enzymatic substances, which the physical body uses to support a variety of shifting hormonal and chemical reactions. During the ascension stages of symptoms, this is commonly experienced as a highly physical shift in the digestive, immune, and brain processing. Stage 12, Aquarius, February 16th to March 11th. The alchemical theme, multiplication and virtues. The element is air. Multiplication is the alchemical process which greatly increases the concentrated refinement, energetic effectiveness, and sphere of influence of the embodied biological spiritual light source. The blood is purified of karmic record and spiritualized in chemistry, which creates spiritual virtues. It occurs near the end of the Magnum Opus of our spiritual ascension alchemy. This is the symbolic state of which Christ is able to take any substance and multiply it into many fish and bread loaves to feed the hungry. Through the access of pure embodied spiritual essence, the abundance of the spiritual light flows in and around the environment from the beacon of a crystal light body. It multiplies abundance for those who come in contact with it, as well as the being who embodies its source. This is about serving group consciousness in the highest expression of spiritual ascension for all human beings. In traditional alchemy, this is the turning of base metal into gold and silver. In this process, this is similar as to what happens to the light body. Stage 13, Pisces, March 12th to April 18th. The alchemical theme, ascension, perfection, Christos-Sophia. The element is water in its highest expression, ether. The process of perfection only achieved through the inner marriage of the mother and father, and ultimately uniting them in a third state of stellar consciousness. The incorruptible wisdom symbolized by the Christ child results from the marriage of the true cosmic father and mother and the stars themselves. This is the attainment of the complete preservation of the body through the inner spirit and light rays and sound waves. One who has obtained the power of spiritualizing the body and knows how to transmute the corruptible physical into the incorruptible spirit. A crystal being who attains an eternal spiritual body and thus is able to break out of the karmic cycle to attain freedom from reincarnation in this space-time. This is the ultimate process of planetary ascension, freedom from the prison planet and the fallen. This great work is the spiritual ascension, the inner Christos-Sophia ignited to make perfect the complete and divine human being. This 13 zodiac cycle will be an intrinsic part of tracking the spiritual ascension cycle for the planet and the source transmission of these stellar forces and alchemical laws upon the earth. When we understand the organic process of spiritual ascension as a direct part of our evolution through alchemical principles, we may more easily process these stages of development. Our birth zodiac alignment will also have a key theme related to the stages of our personal mastery with these alchemical principles and may be worth meditating upon. They represent the primary alchemical law we embody and are here to represent on the planet in service to the ascension. Group consciousness fields coalescing. With the bifurcation and the new Aurora Ray forces transmitting to the Earth, that which was in the lower dimensions has come to the surface of the 3D realm like a purging. The mechanics of the planetary field ascension elevates the timelines and the dimensional spaces to raise into the next higher octave layers. This helps us to better understand why all this debris in the lower dimension is spilling upwards from the inner earth and into our physical reality now. It is purging the lower parts of infection, purging the darkness of the subconscious planes of the collective mind and that of the planet itself. So with all of the subconscious mind suppression, all of the fragmentation of that energy, entities, and elemental force is thrusting upward, which is commingling into higher dimensions. The veils are gone in the collective consciousness layers, so the fallen angelic fields from the inner planes are being absorbed into the energetic auras of people on the Earth's surface who are disconnected from their soul and monad matrix. This is the same to say that disconnected earthlings are the fallen angelic collective in their subconscious mind. The body of the individual human being that has the subconscious mind, therefore frequency level of thoughts, of the fallen angelic field is being connected and absorbed into that field through their personal chakra system, and hence is becoming absorbed into that collective consciousness field. As the individual human absorbs the fallen layers, it brings that elemental force and its consciousness into the physical realm, which has two main impacts. First, this is very good because the fallen angelic elemental field and its thought forms are being forcibly elevated so that its collective consciousness can be moved, evicted, and rehabilitated once it enters a third-dimensional human body. The challenging aspect of this is that many unaware humans, such as humans with primitive consciousness or traumatized and abused consciousness, will be radically impacted if this fallen angelic force is amplified considerably in their individual experience in whatever they may believe is their ego self. The biggest piece to understand is that no matter where we exist in our personal consciousness on this earth, we are moving from individual consciousness into a group consciousness, and that vibration will be matched to every individual aura. The vibrational match that is weighted in whatever frequency that dominates the body consciousness or the energetic aura of human beings' entire spectrum of thoughts, feelings, emotions, and actions, the combined percentage of what that creates in the material plane is the weighted energetic average. So what has happened since the bifurcation was made in the timeline is that the lower dimensional realms are sequentially merging the collective fallen angelic mind and the lower hell or underworld realms into the third dimensional earth surface. This is required to move the lower realms into the matter world in order to rehabilitate, evict, or transit these forces from being stuck in the compaction of the lower fields. These forces are connecting into human beings when they cannot be evicted or transited quickly enough, and also when the human chooses from their own action to carry that fallen consciousness in their body because they are of that consciousness already. This has stopped reincarnation wheel back into the negative alien agenda of memory wipe and mind control on the earth. Now all beings that are passing their body will be moved and routed to another timeline, and that includes options they did not have before in terms of future evolution and freedom from the control of the negative alien agenda. Within the newsletter, we have a chart which is helpful to identify and participate with in the reconfiguration transpiring throughout this year and ongoing in one's heart chakra and heart complex. Intend to ask Holy Mother Ark and Christos-Sophia to help heal all heart wounds or heal a blackened, closed heart. The opportunity is to bring the heart's loving vibrations of inner sacred marriage with God and to live in the ascending pathway of personal peace and connection. The architecture change in the tree of life impacts the fourth tree and the heart chamber chakra. Our grounding ray for sacred marriage is merging with the 12th dimensional sun and 10th dimensional daughter. The balancing archetype for sacred marriage is the compassionate, loving mother and father, hierogamic union, Christos and Sophia. The negative archetypes of blocked heart chakras are dramatic actor, actress, performer, perfunctory, keeping appearances, a playboy or a playgirl. Negative archetype for too open heart chakra is hypersensitive, too empathic, sensory overloaded, a people pleaser, overwhelmed, and escapist. The tri-wave unified pattern is unconditional love for the self and others, developing coping skills balanced in mind and heart, discernment, self-esteem, and connected. Fear thought forms of negative polarity, an absence of warmth, unconfident, lack of forgiveness, distrustful, suspicious, and manipulative. Love thought forms of positive polarity, warm, loving, confident, forgiving, discerning of trust, self-sufficient, compassionate witnessing, and acceptance. The fourth dimensional soul wound main areas of healing through the heart chakra are soul abuse, soul trauma, soul shock, and soul devastation, which caused fragmentation. This is a time to be hyper-vigilant in prayer, meditation, devotion, affirmation to serve one's God spirit and act with strong morality and unconditional love. Thank you so much to our ascending communities. We send prayers of strength, clarity, and devotion to the spirits of Christ. It is very important to keep one's mind focused on God's Spirit and most authentically living from our deepest heart center of compassion and unconditional love. This is the strongest power to uplift one away and distant, chaotic forces from disruption, distraction, and the constant bombardment of energetic drain. Please only take what is useful for your spiritual growth and discard all the rest. Until next, stay in the luminosity of your avatar Christos-Sophia heart path. Be kind to yourself and to each other. Until next, with a loving heart.